Hi, my name is Nicole. Welcome to my channel, Travel to Money. In this video, I'm going to talk about the difference between the person who makes a little money but saves and invests versus the person who makes a lot of money but lacks financial discipline. The numbers might just blow your mind. If you are new here, I have created this channel to help you learn about how to travel, adventure, and have fun on the road to financial independence. I have traveled the world, I own a couple of houses in Spain, and I'm on a creative journey to financial independence. I believe the road to financial freedom can and should be fun. I hope you'll subscribe and join me on this journey, no matter where you are starting from. Several years ago, I started renting my whole house in the US out on Airbnb while I went to travel the world. This was the first time in my life that I had semi-passive income coming in that was almost like having a second salary. It blew my mind. Not to mention, I was able to live on substantially less money while I was traveling Europe. I didn't quite break the $100,000 mark that year, but I came closer than I'd ever been. I didn't make all of the right financial decisions that year, and if there is one thing I've learned in the process of having both little to manage and a lot to manage, is that financial discipline starts when you have little. Your habits don't suddenly become better when you have more money. What happens is that you make the same mistakes, but they are just more stomach-wrenching when they're made with $100,000 instead of $30, $40, or $50,000. Imagining that you would suddenly have financial discipline when given more money is like thinking that you'd be a better athlete if you were suddenly sent to compete in the Olympics. That doesn't make any sense. If you weren't a disciplined athlete at a local level, you're not suddenly going to become a great athlete in the Olympics. The people who make it to the Olympics are the people who were disciplined when they were competing on a small level. Likewise, the people who have true wealth are not simply people who make more money, but those who were disciplined when they made little. I think it is far more important to get the financial discipline part right first, rather than focusing on how to make more money. Don't get me wrong, finding ways to make more money is great, but it means almost nothing if you don't have the financial discipline. I'm going to tell you about two different real people that I know. For the purpose of this example, I'm going to give them fictitious names because I'm not trying to embarrass anyone. The first person is Spencer, and the next person is Jerome. Both Spencer and Jerome are in their late 20s. Spencer has a bachelor's degree and has worked his way up in a sales job that now pays him $125,000 per year, with the potential for additional bonuses. But Spencer has over $20,000 in credit card debt and is struggling to keep his head above water. The short story is that Spencer lacks any financial discipline and also financial education. Spencer thinks a lot more about what he wants right now than about his future. But debt is beginning to become a stress and embarrassment. Let's look at how Spencer got here. Spencer doesn't even have a high payment for rent and utilities. They only come to about $600 per month. So where does all of this debt come from? For starters, he bought a brand new vehicle for around $40,000. Secondly, Spencer eats out for almost every meal or pays for expensive delivery services. He has no budget when he goes out to eat and doesn't have a problem ordering drink after drink after drink. Why not, right? He makes a lot of money. Lastly, one of Spencer's biggest problems is that he loves to help other people, and it's admirable, but it's hurting him when he doesn't even realize it. He is constantly paying for friends' meals, gifts, and he can be emotionally moved to make a charitable donation. And his friends don't mind taking these gifts from him because they know he makes a lot of money. But in reality, he has no savings, no investments, and he has spent more than what he makes. He was living paycheck to paycheck when he was only making $40,000 per year. And because he didn't work toward financial discipline when he made that smaller amount, he has carried those same poor habits with him as he makes more money. Let me tell you something. Living paycheck to paycheck is something that broke people do, and it has nothing to do with how much money they make. Now, I'm not shaming anyone. For a lot of my life, I lived paycheck to paycheck, regardless of how much money I was making. And trust me, you can find the excuses and justifications all you want. I did. It takes acknowledging the problem and desiring a change from the inside out, just like so many other areas of discipline. And developing discipline takes time and practice. It doesn't mean that one day you are undisciplined and the next day you are fully disciplined. Developing financial discipline is a journey where you can learn to walk with more accountability over time while simultaneously giving yourself grace for the process it takes to become more mature. Speaking of financial maturity, now I want to introduce you to Jerome. This friend of mine has his master's degree and works in a career field that doesn't pay very well, but that makes him really happy. This may be hard to believe, but he is currently earning less than $30,000 per year. But unlike my friend Spencer, Jerome has zero credit card debt, has almost $60,000 invested, has an emergency savings of $5,000, and never lets his checking account go below $2,000. Jerome makes less than one quarter of what Spencer does, but Jerome is the more wealthy individual. If I had to place my bets on who would become a millionaire first, I would put all of my money on Jerome. It has absolutely nothing to do with how much money he makes and everything to do with his financial discipline. Now, let's look at some of the ways that Jerome's spending habits are different from Spencer. Jerome's housing expenses cost him nothing. He's worked out a barter agreement for his rent. Since Jerome knows that he makes very little income, he finds creative solutions to reduce his expenses. Jerome drives a used vehicle and has had the same car for 5 years. He does have a car payment, but secured a low interest rate and pays less than one third of what Spencer does. Jerome has a strict budget for groceries and eating out, cooking most of his meals at home and budgeting for one meal at a restaurant each week. Jerome also loves to give to his friends, but finds inexpensive or free ways that often provide more meaning and sentimental value to the recipient. He also gives charitably, but selectively and based on his budget. Jerome has less stress, loves his job, and hopes to retire early. He contributes $6,000 per year to his Roth IRA and participates in his company 401k plan, taking advantage of their full match. At this rate, he will be able to retire in his mid 40s if he wants to. I wouldn't be surprised if he reaches financial independence even earlier because of his good habits and ability to look for creative solutions. If I'm being totally honest, I'm not quite as disciplined as Jerome, but I also learned the lessons that Spencer is learning when I had a lot less money. Like I said, developing financial discipline is a journey and one that I hope we all commit to working toward. If you haven't started the process, let's talk about small ways to start. You've probably heard the saying that acknowledging the problem is the first step. And I know this seems like something that you could just pass over, but I think it's important to just say out loud to yourself or an accountability partner. I haven't made all of the best decisions with money. I take responsibility and I also give myself grace. I want to begin a journey toward financial discipline. I understand that I might make mistakes. I'm committed to growth and developing financial maturity. Now, just repeating after me might not make the biggest difference, but I challenge you to really think about what your acknowledgement looks like and allow it to be the starting line for your financial discipline journey. But in that acknowledgement, make sure that you don't walk away from it with a lot of shame and guilt. We can't change the past and the mistakes we've made, but we can look it straight in the eye and say, I want to be different going forward. After that acknowledgement, we can start to look at small steps toward financial discipline. Before you start to look at ways to bring in more income, make sure that you've taken a hard look at your current income and expenses. Creating a budget doesn't have to be super difficult, but you should know what is going out every month and coming in. You should make sure that more is coming in than going out and set boundaries for yourself in order to make improvements in this area. Personally, I don't see a lot of value into getting into the nitty-gritty, like how much I spend on toilet paper every month, but start with a bigger picture budget that includes things like how much you spend on total groceries and toiletries. Then if you need to figure out why you're overspending, you can dig down into the details a bit more. I also think it's super important to be realistic. Going back to our earlier example, Spencer is in the habit of eating out multiple meals every day. If Spencer were to switch to a budget where he only eats out once per week, he would probably have a hard time sticking to that and might quit after feeling like a failure. Instead, Spencer could start by budgeting to eat out 5 times per week. That might still sound excessive to some, but if Spencer goes from eating out 12 times per week to eating out 5 times per week, that's still a huge accomplishment accomplishment and improvement. My guess is that Spencer could save at least $2,000 per month just from that one change. And if he went from $20,000 in credit card debt to $18,000 in credit card debt after 1 month of changing his restaurant habits, he'll be more motivated by the progress and then can make bigger adjustments if he wants to. Everyone has different personality types and can make adjustments to what works for them, but I think almost everyone is motivated by progress. I have a video right up here that talks about creating value and a budget. I think it will give you a lot of different ideas regarding your budget that will be helpful. If you need more one-on-one guidance, I do offer financial coaching on my website, which is not the same as a financial advisor who helps you choose your investments. This coaching is for areas just like we've discussed today: creating a budget, making sure you have the right type of investment accounts, finding ways to creatively reduce your spending, and looking for opportunities to earn more income. You don't need coaching to get started, but if you want help with taking those first steps, the option is there if it's right for you. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, like the video, and subscribe to join me every day where travel and adventure build financial freedom. I can't wait to see where your dreams will take you.